This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we'll start the video now.
Actinomyces are gram-positive anaerobic type of bacteria. At one time, due to their fungus-like branch network of hyphae, they were assumed to be a type of fungus. They play an important role in soil ecology by producing enzymes that help degrade organic plant materials. The bacteria are known for causing disease in humans and animals and are one of the most common causes of infections following dental procedures, as the bacteria can be found in the nose and throat of many people. The infectious bacterial disease caused by actinomyces is known as actinomycosis. Actinomycosis can occur in humans, but occurs more frequently in cattle as a disease known as lumpy jaw. The name describes the large abscesses that often grow on the head and neck of the infected person or animal. It can also affect swine, horses, dogs, sheep, and wild animals. In humans, people with the condition have often recently had dental work, oral hygiene, periodontal disease, or radiation therapy causing local tissue damage to the oral mucosa. All of these conditions can predispose a person to developing actinomycosis. The disease is characterized by the formation of painful abscesses in the mouth, lungs, or gastrointestinal tract. In the most severe cases, they may penetrate the surrounding bone and muscle to the skin. Actinomycosis does not occur in isolation from other bacteria, and the infection depends on other bacteria to aid in the invasion. Fortunately, actinomyces is typically sensitive to treatment with penicillin. To learn more about actinomyces and actinomycosis or other microbial pathogens and environmental issues, please visit the website shown on the screen.
Okay. So now we'll discuss a little bit about actinomyces. These are all thin, gram-positive, non-motile, non-sporing, non-capsulated filaments. Please remember that they are gram-positive filaments, that is, they can break down into bacillary and coccoid elements. They contain muramic acid, that means they are bacteria, they have the cell wall containing muramic acid, and they have morphological resemblance to fungi. That is why they are known as mycetes, actinomycetes. So their cellular organization is typical of bacteria. They are related to mycobacteria and corynebacteria, and mostly they are free living, mainly in the soil. So that is their saprophytes. So these are transitional forms between bacteria and fungi, which is why their name was known as actinomycetes. Because they are thin, they have a muramic acid cell wall, which is resembling bacteria. They have prokaryotic nuclei, which resembles bacteria, and then they are susceptible to antibacterials. That means they are bacteria, but which are filamentary bacteria, and they have mycelial network-like branching filaments. That's why their name is mycetes. So they are actually higher bacteria with a superficial resemblance to fungi. So they are basically bacteria, and they are related to mycobacteria and corynebacteria because they are gram-positive, they are non-motile, non-sporing, non-capsulated, and they are basically filaments which can break down into bacillary and coccoid elements. So basically there are two types which we will discuss. One is actinomycetes, one is nocardia. Don't forget these two. The others is optional. If you can remember, you can remember. So basically anaerobic organisms are actinomyces, Arachnia, Bifidobacterium, Rothia. These are the different genera. Whereas aerobic genera are Nocardia, Actinomadura, Dermaphytophilus, and Streptomyces. So you can remember at least three. One is actinomyces, which is anaerobic, and aerobic is nocardia and streptomyces. So streptomyces only we'll see a picture, we'll not discuss that much. So there are three basically important, medically important genera. One is actinomyces, which is anaerobic or microaerophilic. What do you mean by microaerophilic? That is in a very less amount of oxygen, very minimal amount of oxygen, even 0.2 to 0.5% of oxygen they can grow, and they are non-acid fast. Whereas nocardia are aerobic and acid fast. I told you that they have a cell wall which is resembling that of corynebacteria and that of mycobacteria. So these are weakly acid fast. So there is a modified quinones or modified acid fast staining which is done for nocardia. And then there is streptomyces, which is aerobic and non-acid fast. So please remember that actinomyces are anaerobic and they are non-acid fast, whereas Nocardia are aerobic and acid fast, whereas Streptomyces are aerobic and non-acid fast. So this is actinomyces. You can see the branching filamentary rods. These are gram positive. So you can see their colored purple. So you can see here, yes, there is branching filaments are there. So actinomyces was discovered by Bollinger. Basically today we'll discuss about actinomyces and a little bit about Nocardia. So Bollinger discovered a mold-like organism in the lumpy jaw of cattle. So cattle have a particular disease known as lumpy jaw, where there is enlargement of the jaw. So there he discovered that this particular organism, this mold-like means fungus-like organism, he discovered it. So the name was coined by Haas, which is meaning is ray-like fungus. We'll come to the pictures. When you realize that once you will see some granules will be there, which are known as sulfur granules, which will be expressed from the disease sites. So there what will happen is if you express them between one cover slip and a slide, what you will find is you will find a ray-like fungus, that is ray-like structures which will be radiating outwards. So that is why it was named, the meaning is ray-like fungus. So it was isolated in humans by Wolf and Israel. So that is why the name of the species is Actinomyces israeli. Actinomyces israeli is the main species which causes disease in humans. So please remember the species name Actinomyces israeli. Then another is Actinomyces bovis, and other species are also there. So human pathogen, please remember, most important is Actinomyces israeli, which is the most common disease causing agent. Then there are other agents like Ericksoni, Nace Lundi, Odontolyticus, etc. So in cattle, it is bovis. So actinomycosis is a disease which is a chronic granulomatous infection. You can remember another chronic granulomatous infection which we had read about previously is tuberculosis. Okay. So this is also a chronic granulomatous infection. So it causes indurated swellings in connective tissue. So what do you mean by indurated? There will be hardness. So hard swellings will be there in connective tissue, which will suppurate. Pus will be produced, and there will be discharge of certain granule-like structures which are known as sulfur granules because of their resemblance to sulfur. I think in your chemistry classes, in your intermediate classes, you might have seen sulfur. So it will be particularly yellow, it will be granulomatous. So that those type of granules which will be expressed out of the site where infection is there. So there will be multiple sinuses. I hope you know what are sinuses. So these will connect to endothelium. So this will be expressed. Sulfur granules will be expressed outside. So this is an endogenous infection. That is, actinomyces are commensals of the mouth, intestine, vagina, etc. So from there itself, it can cause the infection. Also, it can cause infection after trauma or after a foreign body is lodged, or if there is poor oral hygiene, because it can be also there in the mouth originally, where it will invade, and then it can be accompanied by other bacteria, and multiple bacterial infection can be caused. So it is most common in rural areas, because in rural areas agricultural workers, they will work with certain like hay and other things, young males who will work, and in the commensals like mouth, intestine and vagina, these organisms will be there. So endogenous infection can be caused by poor dental hygiene, where it will cause indurated swellings in the connective tissue, which will suppurate and they will discharge sulfur granules. Please remember these 3 points. One is they will cause indurated swellings in the connective tissue, which will suppurate, and they will form sinuses, and they will discharge sulfur granules. Okay, we'll see the sulfur granules so that you can know. Usually, why it is a mixed infection? Because usually in these sites there will be multiple bacteria which are actually commensals. So there are different clinical forms of actinomycosis. One is cervicofacial, one is thoracic, abdominal, and pelvic. Please remember these 4. One is cervicofacial, thoracic, abdominal, and pelvic. So cervicofacial is very, very common. So 60% of the cases, it is cervicofacial, where common sites are cheeks and submaxillary regions. So in the thoracic regions like lung, pleura, pericardium, chest, etc., chest wall, etc. So these will be there. In the abdominal sites like cecum, neighboring tissues, abdominal wall, rarely the liver via the portal vein, and pelvic, which is associated with lodged intrauterine contraceptive devices and draining abscesses, which can cause gingivitis, plaques, or mycetoma. So we'll come to mycetoma in our mycology classes, and we'll discuss a little bit about that also today. Okay. So the clinical diseases, I hope you remember, one is cervicofacial, one is thoracic, one is abdominal, one is pelvic. So cervicofacial is in the cheek and submaxillary discharge, which will be there from usually from the lower jaw. So you can remember Bollinger, he first discovered lumpy jaw of cattle. From that you can remember that in humans also in the lower jaw they can cause submaxillary discharge. I showed you the picture in the video also. So thoracic disease can be caused in the lungs, pleura, pericardium, and which can be discharged to the chest wall through sinuses. And abdominal, like ileocecal abdominal wall, which can spread to the liver. And pelvic is usually after intrauterine devices are launched. So here you can see this is cervicofacial actinomycosis. Here you can see there is a jaw swelling. There is a jaw swelling in the patient, so that you can remember. So this is thoracic actinomyces. You can see thoracic actinomycosis. So actinomyces are also responsible for gingivitis, periodontitis, sublingual plaques, root caries, and they can spread to the central nervous system from the primary focus. So suppose the primary focus is in the jaw also, from there it can also spread. So then the ultimate thing, actinomycotic mycetoma is also a short question for you. Mycetoma is a very important question. It is given in your mycology chapter. Please go through that. We'll also discuss in our mycology classes. We'll also discuss about it a little bit today. So mycetoma, actinomycotic mycetoma, is a tumor-like structure which is present with multiple discharging sinuses, mainly in the foot. Okay, so it was actually discovered. It was also known as Madura mycetoma. That is because it was Madura mycosis. It was discovered in Madurai. So that is why it is also known as Madura mycosis. Okay, please remember Madurai and mycetoma. So how to diagnose? The specimen will be whatever pus discharge is coming out, or if there is a sputum, if there is lung infection or tissue biopsy, and we can do microscopy, culture, immunofluorescence, and histopathologic examination. So sulfur granules, this is an important point. Please remember sulfur granules whenever a question about actinomycosis or actinomycotic mycetoma or whatever question comes, please write down about sulfur granules. So sulfur granules are found in the exudate. So why they are named as sulfur granules? Because they resemble actually the sulfur. Okay, so they will be slightly yellowish, and if you press them also, they will be pressed like sulfur can be pressed. I hope you remember in your chemistry classes, you could do like that. So they're actually soft. Okay, they're actually soft, and once you find these sulfur granules in the exudate, this is actually the sulfur granules. Here you can see what they have done is they have got a sulfur granule. Then what they will do is they'll put it on a slide directly. They are found in the exudates, so they'll have the pus. Sorry. So they, from the pus, these sulfur granules will come. They'll press it between the cover slip and the slide, and then once you press it, then you can stain it. Then you will find long branching mycelia-like structures. Why these are mycelia-like structures? Because these are filamentous structures which are attached to the sulfur granules. So these sulfur granules are basically like colonies of the actinomyces. Okay. These are basically like colonies of the sulfur granules are basically like colonies. So here you can see these are many bacteria which are there lodged inside. Okay, so these are basically bacterial colonies, and they are also obtained by applying gauze pieces on the sinuses. So sometimes what we tell is, we ask the patient, what you do is you take the gauze piece, and then the sterile gauze piece you attach to your jaw and you lie down like that, so that all the sulfur granules or the exudates will collect on the gauze pieces. So later on what we'll do is we'll wash the gauze pieces with saline, and then we can get the sulfur granules. Okay, so these are basically bacterial colonies. Sulfur granules are basically bacterial colonies. These are basically a dense network of gram-positive filaments. These are basically actinomyces which are surrounded by a zone of swollen, radiating, club-shaped structures which are basically antigen-antibody complex. So you might have heard that actinomyces, actino means basically like the radiating sun, like the sun rays will come out. So here the sun ray appearance you can see. These are the sun ray appearance. These are basically antigen-antibody complexes. So here you can see these are actually antibody complexes. So these antigen antibody complexes will be surrounding the actinomyces in the center. So actinomyces will be there in the center, whereas these radiating complexes will be there outside, and that is why the sun ray appearance will be there. That is why the name actinomyces was given. So that is a sun ray appearance. Please remember, this slide is very, very important. You have to remember these things. One thing is sulfur granules will be coming out of the exudates. So why they are named as sulfur granules? Because they appear like sulfur. They'll be slightly yellowish, they'll be soft, and you can press them among the between the cover slip and the slide, and once you press them you will see these sun ray appearance like things. So these sun ray appearance like things are basically the antigen antibody complexes which will be surrounding the filamentous gram positive structures in the middle, which are the bacteria. So these antigen antibody complexes will form the sun ray like appearance which gives the organism its name. Okay, so this is the sulfur granule. Here I told you about the exudate. So here the sinus is expressing the sulfur granules. So here you can see yellowish like structures. So that if you press it the sinus, then you can get. So here also you can see very tiny yellowish small structures are there. Those are known as the sulfur granules. Okay, these sulfur granules are basically bacterial colonies. So here also you can see this is a histopathologic examination. So histopathologic examination, here you can see the organisms will be there inside the sulfur granules. So these sulfur granules are minor specks about 5 millimeter in size, and these are basically macroscopic bacterial colonies. And if you crush them between the slide and then if you grams them, you will get a central gram positive mycelial clump, and peripheral you can get radiating clubs. So these radiating clubs, actually if you do a modified Kinyon staining or a modified acid fast staining, these radiating clubs will come out pink color. Okay, so that will give you a sun ray appearance. These clubs are antigen antibody complexes. You have to remember that actinomyces are actually non-acid fast. Okay, but these radiating clubs will give you a pinkish color if you stain it with modified acid fast. Okay, so on microscopy, if you dilute it with saline, you shake these sulfur granules and you allow them to settle, you will sediment the sulfur granules, and then the sediments are to be pitted out and crushed in between slides and examined, and you can apply the gauze pads on the discharge. Suppose on the first day the patient comes to you, he says that some sort of discharge comes out, but now it's not coming out. What you do is you give him a sterile gauze pad, and then you ask him to go to sleep with the gauze pad applied towards that end, and then in the morning he has to give you the gauze pad, and then if you wash those gauze pads with saline, then you will find the sulfur. So how to do the clinical diagnosis? So you get the clinical specimen, which might be a pus, tissue, or any other. So you have to grossly examine the granules. So grossly how to examine? In the test tube you have the saline and you put the pus, and if you shake, the sediment will be there which will contain the granules. These granules will be slightly whitish to yellowish, about 1 to 5 millimeter in size, and then directly in between the cover slip and the slide you can examine. So that cauliflower like appearance or the sun ray like appearance, you can see that sun ray appearance is basically the antigen antibody complexes. In the middle you will find the gram positive filaments of the actinomyces. So on doing culture, you will wash the samples, you will put in thioglycolate medium, and then you can put in brain heart infusion agar, and in the liquid medium you will find general turbidity, fluffy balls at the bottom. So on solid medium you'll find small spidery colonies. Okay, in the video I showed you the colonies. So small spidery colonies which will become later heaped up, irregular, or smooth. So I showed you the pictures also of actinomyces in the video. So on how to identify the species, you have to do biochemical diagnosis, you have to do fluorescent antibody methods, so immunofluorescent methods, so those things. So here you can see this is the sulfur granule which is done after staining. Okay, after staining, here you can see the radiating antigen antibody complexes will be there. These are the radiating antigen antibody complexes. In the center, actually the bacteria will be there. So this is an enlarged picture of the same. Here you can see the radiating antigen antibody complexes. So that gives it a sun ray like appearance. So here you can see gram positive organism. This is basically histopathologic changes. So histopathologically, if you stain, you can find this is a 5-ferrico stain. So here you can see a sulfur granule is shown in the middle of the image. So here you can see This is the sulfur granule. Okay, please remember these sulfur granules are basically macroscopic colonies of actinomyces. This is a gram-positive anaerobic filamentous organism. Okay, so you wash aseptically the pus or the granules in saline, and then you crush it with a sterile grass rod or between slides, and then you inoculate onto thioglycolate broth, Reinhardt infusion agar, and incubate anaerobically. Remember these two media, one is thioglycolate broth and one is Reinhardt infusion agar. Okay, this is the solid medium, this is the liquid medium. Broth is always the liquid medium, thioglycolate broth and Reinhardt infusion agar. So in broth, Actinomyces israeli will appear like a fluffy ball at the bottom, whereas Bovis, Actinomyces bovis will appear as a uniform turbidity. On agar, there will be small spidery colonies in 48 to 72 hours, which will later become large and heaped up in 10 days. And you can identify them by gram staining, biochemical tests, and confirm by fluorescent antibody tests. So here you can see these are heaped up colonies. Here you can see in the initial phases, they'll appear like small spidery colonies, which will later on become dark. Okay. So on immunofluorescence, you can find the sulfur granules in mycelia in the tissue sections using fluorescent specific anti-sera. Anti-sera means antibodies you will give. So once you get the antibody tag fluorescent dyes, so here you can find them. Please mute your mics. Okay, so on histopathologic examination, here you can find a central mycelial mass with peripheral pus cells and chronic inflammatory cells. So chronic inflammatory cells will be there naturally because it is a chronic inflammatory disease. So it is found worldwide. It is more common naturally in rural areas, in agricultural workers, and is more common in young males who work in the fields. So 10 to 30 years, it will be more common in them. So if they are working in the field, sometimes they will get the hay or other things they'll be working with. So in the jaw or other places in mycetoma, they'll be actually getting pierced with the parts which are there in the fields. So different plants which will be there. So in that time, they can get cervicofacial or abdominal or other pelvic actinomyces can be seen due to intrauterine contraceptive devices. So you have to give a very long treatment with penicillin or tetracycline because these are gram positive. So that is why you can treat with penicillin or tetracycline, and you have to do surgical debridement. Without surgical debridement, it is very difficult for the antibiotics to reach the area. Now we will discuss a little bit about nocardia. Nocardia will also appear like this. So they are also filamentary structures, and in gram stain, here you can see somewhat like. I'm taking class.
Okay, 10 minutes meeting with Steve Wallace.
Okay.
Maybe I'm on the mobile.
These are obligate aerobes. So nocardia, unlike actinomyces, is an aerobe. So these are obligate aerobes. These are gram-positive, filamentous, rod-shaped, non-sporing, non-motile, catalase positive organisms. And you have to remember A, B, C. So how to remember? Actinomyces asteroids, Actinomyces brasiliensis, and Actinomyces, Nocardia asteroids, Nocardia brasiliensis, and Nocardia cavei. Okay, so A, B, and C. So these are the three species of nocardia. One is nocardia asteroids, one is nocardia brasiliensis, one is nocardia cavei. So these are found in soil and can cause exogenous infection. So it was these nocardia are gram positive, aerobic, and acid fast, weakly acid fast. That is why we put 1% sulfuric acid for the staining with modified acid fast staining. And these are the three species that you have to remember: nocardia, asteroids, brasiliensis, and cavei. So exogenous infection mostly caused because they are found in soil. So this is a gram staining. Here you can see the gram positive, like slightly broken structures you can find. So this is nocardia. So they can cause disease like cutaneous or systemic or metastatic. That is cutaneous like abscesses, cellulitis, or lymphocutaneous or subcutaneous disease. Systemic, like usually nocardia asteroids, and metastatic, that is it can go from one side to brain, kidney, or
Say your stories. Write up the committee and come.
okay. I'm sorry, I'll play a video and then I'll leave. So you have to diagnose white granules and sputum. So I'll just put the video. This is the acid fast stain. So this is lab diagnosis and same treatment is there. So this is streptomyces. These are the granules. This is mycetoma. Okay. We'll discuss about actinomycotic mycetoma once we will do. Okay. Krishna, video play cheyandi. Nocardia video.